I am Mofokeng Matlaleng, and I'm going to present about bullet number 4, which talks about the targets or the objectives that were set in the NDP 2030, which is National Development Plan. So the SDG 4, Sustainable Development Goal, which talks about quality education can be achieved. So the following objectives were presented. Number 1, contextualize monitoring of progress. So the SDG 4 targets set a global aspiration but do not distinguish between countries at different stages of educational development. So the benchmarks recognize that each country has a different starting point, but also that all countries together have been observed historically to progress at a certain place. And the benchmark progress challenges countries to commit to progress faster than if they followed the objective. Number 2, make countries accountable for their commitments. The national SDG 4 benchmarking process is called on countries to publicly state what contribution they have prepared to make the global goal. So, objective number 3, link national, regional, and global education agendas. Countries have been asked to select national SDG 4 benchmarks that correspond to the targets they have in their national education sector plans. So the purpose is to ensure coherence and mutual understanding between the 3 levels to reduce duplication. So objective number 4, strengthen country ownership. So there is a tendency often among international organizations to propose or even impose targets on countries by passing national policy making processes. So the national SDG 4 benchmarking process places country ownership on education targets at the center. Objective number 5, focus attention on data gaps. So the SDG 4 monitor framework, which consists of 12 global and 32 thematic indicators, it aims to motivate countries to consider a wider range of important results and calls to use a wider set of data sources than before 2015. So however, not every country can report on all indicators, not are all indicators relevant to move forward to objective number 6, strengthen national planning process. So likewise, despite the proliferation of national education sector plans, some do not have clear targets, while others do not follow the SDG 4 indicator definition. So the national SDG 4 benchmark process aims to encourage countries to include targets in their plans and to align those targets with global indicators definitions. So the last objective says promote peer dialogue. The national SDG 4 benchmark process is also a means to prompt exchange on challenges and good practices, which promote mutual learning and provide the evidence base for national policy reforms and international collective initiatives. The second bullet, which says whether have we achieved the set goal internationally or nationally. The answer is we have not yet achieved the set goals, because even if some countries have achieved the set goals, the world will not achieve the Sustainable Development Goal 4, because they still fall short of the SDG 4 targets pledges, and even before taking the potential impact of COVID-19. So some countries, they do not define the SDG 4 indicators in line with official metadata. So as they are not yet familiar with relevant methodology, data sources, and formulas. Moving forward to the questions that says, what progress have been made towards achieving the goal? So the first progress, it says they have achieved the indicative benchmark values corresponding to the progress rates of the fastest improving quarter of countries. So in the area of early childhood, the participation rate in organized learning has increased from 65% in 2002 to 75% in 2020 on average per year. So the out of school rate for primary school children age, they fell from 15% in 2000 and to 9% in 2010. The rate for adolescents of lower secondary school age fell from 25% in 2000 to 16% in 2013. The rate for youth of upper secondary school age fell from 36% in 2000 to 24% in 2020. And the primary completion rate increased from 76% in 2000 to 86% in 2020. So the lower completion rate increased from 59% in 2000 to 7.5% in to 75% in 2020. The secondary completion rate increased from 36% to 54% in 2020, and the percentage of trained teachers in 2015, it was estimated that 70% of pre-primary teachers, 80% of primary, and 77% of secondary school teachers were trained. So the gender gap in 2004 may have exceeded the female completion rate by 3.2%, and it was reversed in 2013, whereby the female had 2.5 rate advantage in 2020. So in 2015, it was estimated that percentage of students who reached minimum proficiency in mathematics was 53%, and at the end of primary it was 44%, and at the end of secondary it was 60%. In 2015, it was estimated that percentage of students who reached minimum proficiency in mathematics was 53% at the end of primary and 44% at the end of secondary.
Greetings, my name is Sineta Ntlangwabese, and I am going to be presenting the slides on how the National Development Plan responds to the Sustainable Development Goal 4. The National Development Plan is an important policy document of the South African government that sets out firm proposals on how to solve the country's problems by building a fair, just, prosperous and equitable country by 2030. The National Development Plan 2030 closely resonates with the Sustainable Development Goal, which focuses on ensuring inclusive and equitable quality education and promoting lifelong learning opportunities for all. The NDP views education as the cornerstone for development and social transformation, which aims to eliminate poverty, reduce inequality, and build a capable and skilled nation. It sets clear, measurable objectives to improve access to quality education within the South African education system. One of the NDP's central aims is to achieve universal access to quality early childhood secondary schooling from early age. It places great emphasis on early childhood development, ensuring that all children have access to quality early childhood development programs before grade 1. Furthermore, it aims for 90% of the learners from grades 3, 6, and 9 to achieve acceptable levels in literacy, mathematics, and science by 2030, establishing a strong foundation for lifelong learning. The plan also seeks to improve school infrastructure and learning environments. It calls for the eradication of all unsafe and inappropriate structures and the provision of essential facilities such as water, sanitation, electricity, and learning materials in every school. The NDP also promotes ICT integration to modernize classrooms and strengthen teaching and learning through digital technology. Teacher qualification and teacher quality is identified as a crucial factor in improving education outcomes. The NDP 2030 emphasizes the professional development, motivation, and accountability of teachers. It calls for continuous training and monitoring systems to ensure that teachers are qualified, skilled, and effective in their roles. But before schooling and beyond schooling, beyond secondary education, the NDP promotes post-school education and skill development by expanding access to universities and TVET colleges. It also ensures that workplace-based learning and internship to align education with labor market needs. By 2030, the plan also aims for 75% of working-age adults to have complete secondary schooling, reflecting its commitment to lifelong learning and employability. So the NDP 2030 supports the Sustainable Development Goal 4 by setting measurable objectives and time-bound targets that focus on access, quality, equality, and innovation in education. Its overarching vision is to create an inclusive, skilled, and knowledge-driven society where every learner can achieve their full potential. Thank you.
Greetings, my name is Noxolo Vuma with the student number 2016-0689. I am going to be doing the part of the presentation about the positives of the National Development Plan 2030 goals. There are quite a number of positives about the National Development Plan 2030 goals already in place. There must be a high number of learners enrolling in schools, especially early childhood. The National Development Plan 2030 is expecting all the learners, every child, to actually have access to early childhood education. Also, the youngsters' access to school is getting much easier and efficient. Zulu articulates that the National Development Plan 2030 is looking forward to education that has a higher percentage of children passing numeracy, literacy, maths, and science. Additionally, the National Development Plan is also mostly concerned about the foundation of learners in education. The plan is that at least children start passing the science, language, and maths with a 50% pass rate. The National Development Plan Vision 2030 endorses that the further education, teaching, and higher education must invert real opportunities in terms of graduates passing, meaning there must be a high number of graduates passing and adding to a current research that will help in future. There must be a great number of participation, both in FET, both in higher education. The National Development Plan also encourages more research to be done in education, specifically to add on the information that is already there, as I have already stated. I thank you.
Good day, my name is Paulina Nkuta. This slide highlights challenges affecting education in South Africa today. While progress has been made in some areas, significant challenges still remain. The most alarming issue is the quality of education. Most learners in South Africa are unable to read for meaning in any language. Learners struggle with reading for comprehension. This foundational gap limits future achievements and learning. There are significant differences between schools in different provinces. These differences are frequently associated with historical inequalities and resource allocation. The division between urban and rural areas, along with socio-economic status, significantly influences outcomes. The gap between enrollment and successful matriculation is significant. Most learners drop out of school before finishing grade 12 due to socio-economic pressures, school conditions, and poor foundational skills. Despite improvements, many schools still lack basic infrastructure such as access to clean water, sanitation, reliable electricity, and facilities accessible to learners with disabilities. These are particularly lacking in rural areas or informal settlements, which directly affect teaching and learning conditions.
Good morning, I'm going to present the conclusion. From the evidence guaranteed, we can conclude that South Africa has made real progress, but there are still serious gaps to address. The country has expanded access to basic education. Most children now attend primary school, and there has been a good progress on gender equality and inclusion. Government programs like the National Development Plan, Action Plan 2024, and the Funds and Shaba Basari schemes show strong commitment to improve education. However, the quality and fairness of education remain major challenges. Many rural and township schools still face poor infrastructure, overcrowded, shortages of qualified teachers, and the limited access to digital resources. As a result, learners in these schools often perform below expected levels. And the COVID-19 pandemic also revealed big inequalities. While some learners could continue learning online, while some learners in under-resourced areas left behind due to lack of internet and resources. In short, we can say that South Africa is moving in the right direction, but more work is needed to improve learning quality, training and support teachers, strengthening early childhood education, and close the rural-urban gap. Achieving SDG 4 will require strong partnership between government, schools, teachers, parents, and communities to make sure that every learner gets not just access but a quality education that empowers their future. Thank you.